watching Valley Homes on TV. I'm Debbie Giordano along with Todd Flesner.
Hello, everyone. Good to see you again.
Yeah, happy summer. We're here launching it in. So if folks are tuned in, you're watching Channel 26, where you can see us on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 6:30 p.m. and Saturday and Sunday at 9 a.m. Yep.
Terrific. Hey, well, we're glad folks have joined us. And we got an interesting show, I think, today.
We do.
We're going to talk about real estate, as we do oftentimes, right?
Yes.
And, you know, there's an old saying in real estate, location, 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 right?
Right.
And so we're going to talk a little bit about that today, the importance of location and local knowledge. And so brought along a guest today, Mike Gaines is a friend of mine, and he's with Sereno's group. As a real estate agent, and he knows a little something about local real estate, as do you, Deb. And we're going to talk a little bit about that today.
That's exciting. Thanks, Mike, for coming.
Well, thank you for having me on. I look forward to talking about real estate.
Okay, so the first thing we do is we want to have the guests be able to talk a little bit about themselves, maybe where you were born, where you were raised, educated, when you came to this area.
Okay, well, I was born locally, Campbell. I have lived here my entire life. Attended San Jose State, and I graduated with a degree in psychology. And so I've been in real estate about 20 years.
Those kind of go together,
Well,
don't
it
they?
works well for me, actually. A lot of my psychology I do use in real estate. Understanding people, you know, and how they feel about something is really important, and knowing the true feelings and emotions they have about something. I have two children who have graduated high school in the area and have moved on and gone to college. So, no, my real estate, I've been, like I said, 20 years in real estate. I've run the broker's tour in Willow Glen for about 12 years. And that gives me a really good insight on the market, the realtors, and the activity that's going on.
Super.
Yeah, terrific. So you grew up here, you stayed here. What keeps you in the Bay Area?
You know, it's interesting. I think the dynamics is changing that keeps anybody here. As we've recently seen some of the polls out there and what they've talked about, a lot of folks are deciding to leave. And in my own thought, with my children gone now, we're kind of suffering from a little bit of gentrification. And I believe that a lot of children are not able to stay in this area. And with that, the children find affordable places they can live, and the parents tend to be drawn there to be with their children and their grandchildren.
All right.
So I have been here longest of anybody in my family, and probably in some time I'll end up where my kids are at.
Okay. Yeah, good.
Okay. So let's talk about some career paths. What has led you to what you're doing now, Mike?
You know, my career that brought me to real estate, I built and restored cars, owned a hot rod shop, and a local broker would come in and see what we were working on. And 20 years ago, he said, you know, we need young agents to come into the business. At the time, I was about 32.
Okay.
And he says, we need young agents to come into the business. And I literally said, I'll do it, and walked out of the shop, gave my partner my half of the business, and got in with a great company, Remax, Mark and Sherry Wilson, way back in the day. And remember Mark and Sherry? Great people to work with, and they taught me the basics. I consider myself to be an old school realtor. I'm the youngest of the old school realtors.
Well, good. So now you're a Sereno group, right? Which
Yes.
really is a local-based real estate group, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about Sereno Group and what your role is there with Sereno, and then also about the Willow Glen tour that you're so involved with.
Certainly. Sereno Group was started by Chris Trapani and Ryan Iamanaga, who were longtime realtors, brokers, owners of businesses in the area.
Okay.
Sereno Group was designed to be for a proficient, high-end agent who is working well, doing good business, and they started with that basis. We've got about 350 agents, 9 locations, and now we're starting to take on new agents, which is kind of fun. And the energy's good to see the new agents come in and try to teach them what we do.
Okay.
Part of what I do, is, as you were saying, is I run the broker's tour, and that is based in Willow Glen. And I've been doing it for about 12 years. It started about 20 or so years ago by R.C. Cost, a legendary realtor in the area.
Okay.
And it was a way for realtors to go out and look at the new properties that were on the market. Started with a very small group of people, probably 4, 5, 6 people. We've grown to now where we're at a large facility. We have TVs going, stats, information, drawing 120 a week into the program. It's a great group of people. We found that we developed guidelines. And the guidelines allow us to make this work for everybody in the room, feel comfortable, feel welcome, give good information, always be positive. As you know, we have stats that are given each week, and those stats are very valuable for agents to know currently what's going on in the market. So when they're having conversations with their clients, they have the most updated information, because our market is moving fast in different ways. And you could be talking to a client and not be up to date and you don't look good. And so
Right,
having
right.
that information is important.
So, along that vein, Todd had introduced you as a local broker. So, why would a seller, what are the reasons why sellers should employ a local broker? Give us some reasons.
Knowing the area, when you go to sell someone's home, you want to have all the information about their home. You want to put it in the best possible light and understand the schools, the issues around there. There's always any negative that a buyer can bring to you. There's always a good way to fix that. Understanding the area, the market, and the homes in the area, you'll know how to resolve that without looking like you don't know what you're doing. I have a personal rule of I don't work out of Santa Clara County. Santa Clara County is what I know and understand. After that, I'm happy to refer them to good people that I know outside of the area.
Yeah, good.
Okay, awesome. Well, and how about on the flip side of that? We talked about with sellers and knowing the neighborhood for listing the property. What about with buyers? Why is it important on the buyer end?
Well, with buyers, it's really important. When you develop a relationship with a buyer, I think that those tend to be long-term relationships because you eventually, hopefully, sell their home. They're moving into your community, so you want to have that relationship as long as they're around, you're willing to help them out.
And probably educate them with the community, too.
Educate them with the community and be a friend in the community.
Yeah.
Hey, there's a good event coming up. You make sure you want to break your family onto that. So when you're looking for a home for that person that you're developing a relationship like with that, I tell people, look, I don't want you to be upset with me in 6, 8, 12 months and you discover something about your home that wasn't obvious at the time when you purchased it. And that can be, you can have a home that is near commercial property, not realizing that just 1 or 2 streets away is a restaurant. With that comes noise, traffic, pets, rats and so forth from the trash. And so those are things that you want to tell a buyer, hey, be aware of that a garbage truck may be coming 2 blocks away at 6 in the morning to empty those dumpsters. I want them to understand it now. We're in a hot market. And a lot of buyers will ignore some things that could be a negative to a property. I want to ensure that a buyer understands you may accept this now, but when the market cools down and we're not as active and you try to sell this home, this may be a bigger issue.
Correct. And that's true. Any person buying a home needs to think as a seller down the line.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about the market. What is your opinion? You said it's a hot market, and what is your prediction for the future?
So I
Where's
have,
that crystal ball, Mike?
I watch a lot of stats and a lot of different information that gives me the signs of the market. I just did the stats to be presented tomorrow on Thursday's Brokers Tour. And for the first time in June, we have a higher number than we had in May for inventory in Willow Glen. That has not been the trend for the past 5 years. May has always been the highest point for inventory, and then it has turned downward June all the way through December.
Okay.
Today, that's not true.
Okay.
So tomorrow, we're going to give stats that have not followed the trends of the past 5 years.
Okay.
I honestly believe this is not sustainable.
Right.
Now, the market's not going to crash. We've had this rocket ship that's going up, and it's going to slowly turn, and it's going to start to come back down, level off, I should say, before it comes down. We have a lot of positives in our economy. We have a lot of money in this valley. But buyers, and I have a way of saying, understand this, buyers feel emotionally will start and stop the market. In 2011, our market was flat. Very beginning of the year, the 49ers lost to the New York Giants in the playoffs. Typically, we always say that football, the end of Super Bowl, is the beginning of the real estate market.
Right.
For us, that was the end of the football season because the 49ers had lost and there were no West Coast teams on the market or in the playoffs.
Okay.
The very next week is when our real estate market took off. And that was in January of 2011. And it's brought us to this point. There was nothing in the market that said, now's a good time to buy. Their interest rates weren't any different. Nothing triggered buyers. Buyers in their mind said, you know what, I'm ready to buy. I see a lot of good property out there. There's some values out there. And I'm willing to buy now. And even if the market goes down a little bit in the future, I still am happy with the property I bought.
And that's going to maintain the stability in the market, I think. Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what's brought us to now.
Yeah.
Right.
Now buyers are going to have a different opinion and think, maybe I'm paying too much. And that's what's going to change our market. Last week we had 57 homes for sale, 57 homes on the market in Willow Glen, and we had 18 sales in the 7 previous days. Today we have 58 homes for sale, one more, and we only had 7 sales.
Okay. So the brakes are on a little bit.
The brakes are getting pumped.
Okay, good. Okay.
All right. Well, you described yourself earlier kind of as an old school realtor. You've been around for a while, but we also see changes coming or on the horizon or talked about in real estate. Online brokerages, discount brokerages. What sort of changes do you see in the real estate industry? Will those things be disruptive, or will it still be important to have a local realtor?
Absolutely. From the beginning of my career, 20 years, we've always been threatened that technology was going to push us out. People want that personal connection with somebody to walk them through. It's the most important financial decision that most people make in their lives. Technology is important. I believe that your website is basically your internet business card. You can gather information there. There are some great websites out there that are provided by our competitors of Zillow, Redfin, those types of companies. And the consumer tends to go to those. So accept that that's going to happen. Embrace that technology because that's where your consumer's going. The younger the consumer, the more they're going to go to that technology. But you still have to use old school. And so I've been talking with agents saying, look, you do your mailers, you do your phone calls, but you also find ways to become their Instagram friend, to become their Facebook friend. That way you're hitting both sides of the networking.
Right.
And then they feel more comfortable regardless if it's a personal touch or an internet touch.
So my next question, I think Todd hit it, how important is online presence. We talked offline before the show started. You've worked on getting the search engine optimization going. How did you do that, and how did you work that into your marketing program?
Well, I wanted to rise my name up on the Google search, right? And so I went and I talked to Google and I talked to my website provider and I talked to people and I looked at other websites and I was able to pick up on some of the clues and the things that they had done. And my name has risen up. If you put in Willow Glen Realtor, my name will be the #1 realtor. I'll be behind Zillow and a few other commercial spots. But as far as an individual, I'm the first one that pops up. And so that is important to me. It's gotten my phone to ring by a lot of, like we were talking, newspapers are contacting me now and media to get my opinion on things because they go to Google, they say, boom, your name comes up.
Well, I guess you become labeled an expert.
Well, you become labeled an expert, and it's your visibility.
Yeah.
Right? You need visibility with your open house signs on the corners. You need visibility at your local Safeway store shopping around, and you need visibility on the internet.
Yep. Okay.
So as we've talked about, the market's been really increasing and prices are at all-time highs now. Let's say I'm thinking about selling my home. What sort of tips might you have for me if I'm thinking about selling?
If you're thinking about selling, make sure that you have where you want to be mapped out.
Okay.
You're probably moving out of the area if you're selling. Not a lot of folks are moving around the area right now, but they tend to be going to see their children being where they want to be. So I would say that talk to a local expert. Understand what's important to do to your home and preparing your home for market. Good realtors do that for you. You shouldn't be concerned about preparing your home. You should just be making the decisions on what you want done. Your realtor should be hiring the people to do the work to help you understand, that your focus is moving.
Right.
And so you optimize your realtor's ability to do the best preparations of your home.
Okay.
Then figure out where you want to go, find a good realtor in that location. Your realtor should be able to give you a referral, and then work on that part of it.
Okay. Terrific.
All right. So, we get to, I love this question. What do you see as some of the challenges in your field, your industry?
The technology certainly is bringing a different model of real estate company to the business. And so understanding that model, not being threatened by that model, but understanding it and understand where they fit in the market. And so I know where I can work in the market. They know where they can work in the market. It has a lot to do with our age. As we get older, we feel more comfortable working with people that are maybe our own age, and we know that a lot of our buyers are young, powerful buyers, and they like that young agent. So I understand that's who they're going to work. So I'm tailoring more towards the agent or the seller or buyer who's maybe more in my age range, more in my social circles, and making more of an effort for that.
Okay. Terrific. What is it you like about being in the real estate business, and what are some of the rewards that you take from that?
It is a great career in that it's flexible. We always say it's flexible in our time.
Oh, yeah,
The
right.
flip side of that is you're
Always
always on.
You're always on.
You're always taking the call. And so, but it gives you opportunity. There's no ceilings. And for men and women, it's an equal opportunity. There's no advantage to either. The average realtor is probably, it was not too long ago, a 56-year-old woman. Now it is probably a 42-year-old woman, because I think the number has shifted down because we have a lot of young agents coming into it. But it's a great career for anyone at any age, I think. But if you want to come into this business, you have to take it seriously, be a professional, and treat it as a professional job.
All right.
Absolutely.
And
Good.
last question, follow up, and we'll sign off. Future goals and aspirations for your company or yourself?
I'm building a team. I think the teams are the
Okay.
future.
Okay.
I think what it enables you to do is have many different tools, that you have different personalities that fit
Okay.
with different types of clients. We have a changing demographic in our area, age, where people are coming from, their situations are all different. And having all the right people to service the full community, I think, is important. And having more of a group effort. We all have strong points and we have weak points. And so identifying those and bringing that together puts together a good team.
Good.
That's my goal and aspiration for right now. For Sereno Group, I know that we are growing. We have a couple new locations that have just opened, and we've got new agents coming on board. So that's exciting.
They have a great name reputation. They really do.
That's very important. When I work for Sereno Group, I work for Sereno Group 24/7. Everywhere I go, regardless of where I'm at, I carry that with me, and I respect that.
Yeah, good.
Good.
Well, Mike, thanks for coming in.
Yeah.
Sharing
Thank
your
you for having me.
expertise with
Yes,
us.
yes.
It's been absolutely fabulous.
Thank you.
If folks have questions that they might want to address your way about real estate in general, how might they get a hold of you?
You can reach me at my email, Mike@Sereno Group. Pretty simple.
All right.
Good. We'll put that up on the screen.
Terrific.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you for
All
having
right.
me.
Thanks.
The following is a public service announcement test to determine if you need a fishing license and boat registration before you head out on the water. Let us begin. Are you a pelican? Does this look like your house? Is this your idea of fishing with friends? Do you use your feet as fishing hooks? Are you your own boat? Do you have webbed feet? No, I mean like a... That's the one. Do you want this in your favorite lake? Yuck, yike. No thanks, mister. Regardless how you answered, you need to be licensed and registered because it helps local conservation efforts protect the very natural resources you enjoy boating and fishing in for generations to come. Do your part at takemefishing.org.
Well, welcome back, everybody. Thank you for watching Valley Homes on TV. I'm Debbie Giordano.
Todd Flesner here as well.
Yep, Todd's our local loan broker expert, and I've got some real estate experience that we can give to you folks. So thank you very much for watching Channel 26 cable Comcast. So.
Yeah. So, what's going on with the market these days,
Well,
Deb?
we were talking about this offline. We're now 5 months into the new year. As you know, the stock market has started to shake a little bit.
It has.
Last weekend, had an open house here in Milpitas. I had about half the amount of traffic through of buyers looking that I
Okay.
normally would have. That's kind of a precursor to say what's going on with the marketplace.
Okay.
I don't know how to read it yet, and maybe folks that want to tune into our show in a few weeks, maybe we can get a better read on where that's going to factor out into the housing market pricing. I usually expect more offers, and I get less offers on a house. So I don't know, what are you seeing from the buying end, the buyers that you're pre-qualifying?
Well, I think it takes a little bit of time sometimes for what you're seeing directly on the ground to kind of filter through to people who are in the market, right? And for that news to spread. So I think that, folks who are looking now still are expecting a very, very strong seller's market, tight buyer's market. But, we're starting to see interest rates creep up.
Right.
And so there's some concern about that. As you mentioned, the stock market and some waivers with that.
Are you having buyers having to come back, and are you having to re-qualify them on the higher rate? And or are they okay, or how does that work out?
Well, I tend to be fairly conservative in my approach, and so I don't put people right on a razor's thin edge in terms of what they can qualify for or not. We talk about this. Let's have a plan B, right? Because markets can be volatile, and do we want to set you up for being successful, or do we want to set you up for a very stressful situation if there's a turn in the market that you go from being qualified to not qualified? And so that's just my approach to it. But if there's a significant enough increase in interest rates, it may change the ability of somebody to qualify.
And that can also play into a factor of the availability of buyers being able to qualify and buy a property. So
Exactly.
I'm not certain whether we're seeing this as a seasonal slowdown, because typically in the summer months,
Right.
people go on vacations. There's a lot, I know there's graduations going. There's a lot of things that might limit people from being out house hunting.
Right.
So I've got offers due tomorrow on the one this weekend. So we'll see. I'm not getting a strong feeling that I'm going to get multiple offers on that
Right.
house, where typically if they had sold it 3 or 4 months ago, they could be seeing 6 or 10 offers on that home.
Right.
And I've priced it well within reason, in fact, below appraised
Right.
value.
Well, and I know I had a conversation this morning with a listing agent with the buyer I'm working for, where there are multiple offers still, Fremont property. So the person I'm working with their loan, basically the same price as someone else who's coming in on the property, but an all-cash offer. But it's interesting, they're weighing the certainty of a loan that's been fully vetted versus a cash offer.
Interesting.
And whether or not that cash offer is real,
Ah,
right?
okay.
And as you may have seen as well, some of these cash offers, they're a little bit ethereal sometimes, right?
Yeah,
What is it actually?
yeah, I mean, a seller, their radar goes up when they hear an all-cash offer, but
Right.
is it true? Is it,
Right.
they have proof of funds, and where are they going to
Exactly.
get their funds from? Is it stock market? Is it, there's a
Yeah.
lot of,
Exactly. So they have to liquidate stocks. How long does it take? Are there tax consequences they may not have taken into account? Or are those funds coming internationally? And there are more problems for folks who are bringing funds into the country
Yeah.
with getting those funds cleared.
Yeah.
So there are uncertainties with that. And so it was an interesting conversation. And so are we seeing a turn in the market yet or not? It's hard to tell.
yeah, it's
Because
hard to
it
tell.
takes a little bit for that to emerge.
So the homes that I do
Yeah.
work with in Milpitas, they're all single-family detached.
Right.
Garages, yards for dogs and kids to play out the front yard and all. I still think that that's going to be a hot commodity. I've talked about that over the years.
Right.
All we're building out new now is just these condos,
Right.
townhomes, no yards, no, So I do think the single-family home detached market in Milpitas will stay strong. That's my prediction.
Okay, good.
Just, again, have to be careful.
Uh-huh.
As I told you, I'm staging them,
Right.
prepping them to be pristine so they stand out amongst the
Right.
inventory, and pricing them right.
Sure.
So,
We're seeing a little bit of uncertainty as well in the financial markets. We're seeing what's known as a flattening of the yield curve, where the yields on short-term
Okay.
interest rates and long-term interest rates are moving together. And that usually is a sign of some uncertainty, perhaps of maybe some economic slowdown, although we're not seeing those numbers yet. But it's, maybe off on the horizon. We're, 7 or 8 years into an expanding economy.
But I attend these monthly broker meetings, the Santa Clara County Board of Realtors, and this morning's meeting, we talked about the strength of the local economy. I mean, a lot of companies are still hiring
Yes.
here. So we've seen the down economy, and I just don't think we're in it yet.
Right.
I don't think we're there.
We're in a little bit of a bubble here.
Yeah.
Right?
A little.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about
Yeah.
some numbers. So, Milpitas, the average single-family home price in April of 2017 was $1,016,000, and last month it jumped up to $1,224,000.
Okay.
So we'll watch that and see
Yes.
if that holds. And then the same with the median price; it went from $931,000 up to $1,244,000. So. Just what we predicted, we're going to have a very strong single-family home market. And here's the condo. Condo market barely increased at all. April 2017, it went from $806,000 average price to now last month $883. See the
Okay.
difference?
Yes,
See, the
absolutely.
single family was about a $200,000 to $250,000 bump,
Mm-hmm.
and then the median price went from $839 to $940 for the townhomes.
Okay.
So they're flattening out in terms of appreciation in the single family
So
homes.
still
I think are going to be very, very
the
strong.
appeal is there on the single family.
Absolutely, yeah.
Awesome. Well, good. Still a good time to buy. Anytime you can buy is a good
I
time.
think
isn't it?
so. We've always said that, but I think it's really, really true. Because buying a home, you buy into a neighborhood, you have a place to stay where, as long as you make mortgage payments, you don't have to leave, where a landlord can give you 30 or 60-day notice and you've got to uproot your family. You also can buy into a school district. You can have certainty that your children are going to go to a certain school in a neighborhood. I mean, there's so much value to home ownership.
Well, absolutely, and compared to rent, where you're not in control of whether there's an increase or not, if you have a nice, stable, fixed-rate loan, you've locked in your housing costs for the long term.
Absolutely.
So there, again, another reason to own.
Another reason to buy.
So-
Well, I look forward to our next guests, our next interviewees, and I think we should close the show for now. And,
Yeah, thanks for joining us, folks.
contact information?
T. Flesner at opusadvisors.com. Shoot me a quick email if questions.
And for myself, Giordano DJ at AOL.com. It's a pleasure bringing to you our show, and we'll see you in a few weeks.